SBRForum videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the 2013 NFL playoffs right now. We've got the wild card games coming up this weekend, and we are talking right now with returning guest Jeff Cadillac from JeffCadillac.com, who's given us great NFL analysis and predictions and picks all regular season long, and now he's come back with us to talk about the playoffs. Jeff, thanks for being with us once again.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for having me.
All right, the game that you picked, Minnesota at Green Bay. Interesting line and situation, obviously, given that these two teams played last week. Before we talk about that game, give yourself an 8 or 10 second plug of JeffCadillac.com.
Well, JeffCadillac.com is I analyze all the NFL games. I'm analyzing all the playoff games this year and post all my picks free of charge. And anybody can, you can even send me an email, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And I've been getting emails from people all around the world, so very interesting.
Congratulations. And Adam Schefter from ESPN called you the greatest NFL handicapping mind alive today. Or what did he say?
Well, I wouldn't say I was the greatest handicapper, but he did say I was an up-and-comer in the football world. And hey, anything Adam Schefter has to say, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. I'm a little jealous, to be perfectly honest here, Jeff.
Well,
but you deserve it. No, you deserve it.
True. I wasn't making that up. Some people have said to me that they thought, yeah, I might have got the wrong information, but it was true.
All right. Well, you can stick it to those guys with a picking a winner here. Minnesota at Green Bay, of course. Minnesota won last week. Congratulations to Minnesota. They proved all the doubters wrong. Christian Ponder especially. Minnesota 8-7-1 against the spread during the regular season, but they closed the year great. They won 4 in a row against the spread. Some people are saying they are this year's version of the Giants from a few years ago, that they're going to be a wild card road team and come out and go all the way to the Super Bowl, maybe win the Super Bowl. Obviously, Adrian Peterson can get that done. If Christian Ponder starts to play serviceably, that could happen. Green Bay, 9-7 against the spread, excellent team. Outperforming the spreads a little bit, but we basically know what we're getting there. What do you think? Minnesota's a 7.5 or 8-point road dog right now.
I like, you know what? You could probably do a teaser in this thing right here. Tease it down to about a point, Minnesota getting a point, and tease it down to about 40, the over-under, and then take the over on it, and still take Green Bay laying about a point and a half. And I do like, I even do like Green Bay minus 7.5, but I'll tell you why I don't like Minnesota in this game. Minnesota on the road is definitely a different team than Minnesota at home.
Yeah.
Minnesota at home, 7-1. They won all their games nicely. The only loss was against Tampa Bay, which had the #1 rush defense, by the way, in the NFL. So not good for Adrian Peterson. But on the road, the Minnesota Vikings are 3-5. Now, there are only 3 victories on the road this year. We're basically in domes. Detroit, St. Louis, and Houston with the roof on. When you look at their losses, they lost at Washington outside, Seattle outside, Chicago outside, and Green Bay outside. And they surprisingly lost at Indy, which was a dome. So when it comes to weather games for Minnesota, they are 0-4 this year. And also, the last 6 games at Green Bay for Minnesota, they were 5-1. Green Bay is 5-1 straight up, 5-1 against the spread. And the only win there for Minnesota was when Favre had that great season with Minnesota and went to the championship game.
All right.
I think it's a totally different game now for Minnesota when they go to Green Bay.
You make great points, Jeff Cadillac. The question for me, though, is that Minnesota might be the Cinderella team this year, where they just have that magical momentum. And here's a quote from Adrian Peterson: "We're very confident. We know the type of environment it's going to be. I feel like we're peaking at the right time." That's coming from Adrian Peterson, and you're giving them more than a touchdown. You still think that's a good thing to bet against?
Well, if Adrian Peterson played every position for the Minnesota Vikings, I would definitely believe him. But Ponder has been very inconsistent.
Yeah, but he's been better recently. He did fine last week.
Yeah, in the dome.
Right.
Remember that.
Yes.
Percy Harvin is still out, which is a very big component of the Minnesota special teams and offense. And Minnesota just does not play well in weathered games. And Green Bay at home has been beating teams left and right. And the only cover losses that they had, they're 7-1 at home. The only cover losses they had was the one against New Orleans, where they didn't cover. The Jags were getting 13, and they only lost straight out to San Francisco in week 1. So there's a lot of different factors that I looked at this game for Minnesota. If it was Minnesota at home, I would love them in this
Right,
in the
different
second.
story.
But when Minnesota goes on the road and it's a weather game, it's a totally different kind of game for them. And for some reason, they do not battle the weather very well. And there's a couple other stats I'd like to tell you about. In wild card games, playing off a straight up season ending loss, a favorite tends to bounce back, going 21-11-1 against the spread and 10-3 at home against the spread. So I see a big bounce back for Green Bay. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a gunslinger. Plus, they are finally getting Charles Woodson back.
Sure.
And they're going to cover the spread.
All right.
And if you don't want to lay the 7.5, I would tease them. I would tease it down, tease the over/under down. Take Green Bay only laying about a point and a half, and take the over at about 40.
All right. We will see how this turns out. Great, very thorough preview from Jeff Cadillac. JeffCadillac.com recommends Green Bay, or even better, maybe Green Bay with the over on a teaser. Thanks so much, Jeff. We'll see how this turns out.